Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's YBP Gang, YBP Nation, YBP Boxing, YBP MMA. I'm coming at y'all with another video. My voice is kind of shaky, I can't lie. Like I know this is like 2 days or a day removed from the actual event, but it's a sad day, for a Leon Edwards fan. I can't even say that I'm not even the biggest Leon fan. Honestly, I've kind of like geared away from that, but he is. I remember one of my favorite moments, like joining the sport and just like, viewing the sport, watching it and being a fan of it was Leon Edwards knocking out Kamaru Usman in their rematch. And that was such a huge moment for me. And honestly, like Leon going out there and performing the way he did, I was just like, what the heck? I feel let down, honestly, because I know Leon is capable of doing way more in the cage. I feel like he has lost a step a little bit. I don't even want to call him washed, but I think we got to start having these conversations because Leon he really disappointed me going into that fight. I thought I didn't make a prediction video. I've been kind of slacking off on that type of stuff. But honestly, if I made prediction videos for the bold prediction that I've had over recent, I felt strongly about Magomed. I can't think of the other fights that I would have made a bold prediction for, but I was spot on with that. Kind of, not really. I thought Magomed would win, but with this fight, I was felt so strongly that Leon could pull it off, that he could go out there, stuff the takedowns, not get on his back, and do some damage to striking. I just didn't believe in Brady's striking, to stay in there. I thought Leon would address those issues. I thought he'd be a better version of himself that, came up in London versus Bilal the first time, and it just wasn't the case. I think a lot of people shit on excuse my French, a lot of people shit on the Bilal fight, but I thought he showed really good defensive grappling. He showed that he can stay out someone's back for, a duration of time. He showed his jiu-jitsu. He showed his grappling. And he showed, obviously he got stifled by the pressure, but when you take in those factors of, it being 5 a.m., the pressure of him fighting in his hometown, going against such a suffocating style like Bilal bring up. It was a very good performance by Bilal, but I thought he did really well in a losing performance, that if he shows up better, all the conditions are right, against a similar style in Brady, that he would actually turn up and do better. But I think I was talking to somebody, not to switch subjects, but I was talking to somebody or just having a discussion on Twitter about a potential fight with Shakur and Tank, or, Haney, Tank, all these boxers going forward against Gervonta Tank Davis. And I thought, I'm still honestly on this side that I don't think Shakur has the skill set to beat Gervonta Tank Davis. I don't think he has enough offense. I think he's too defensively oriented. I think a guy like Haney or Keyshawn Davis would, thrive in a matchup like that. But he made a really good point that when someone gives out a blueprint, it's very easy to follow. Obviously you have to, go out there and perfect it. But once somebody shows a chink in your armor, and, Tank's been at the top for, a while now. People forget that he's like 28, he's pushing 30. So once someone shows those weaknesses, we saw with Cruz, now we see with Lamont Roach, someone can perfect that. Someone can dissect that. Someone can, take little bits of that and say, how does this apply to my game? How can I make it better? And then they can craft a game plan. They can really, really look good, But like someone might point out, if Shakur were to win, they were like, Lamont did it first. Lamont was the one that laid the blueprint out. So I think that there's a case of that with the Brady fight, which I completely overlooked. I just thought, for as much as Bilal gave the blueprint, I thought Leon can make those improvements. But I thought, I'm not even going to go over like the stuff that happened once it got to the ground, because I know that Brady's an amazing grappler. I think that's what separates Brady and Bilal, is that although they're similar in their approaches, I think Bilal is more of a wrestler and Brady is more of a grappler. You know what I mean? Because I think Bilal is like amazing with his wrestling, amazing with his takedowns, but when it actually gets to the ground, that's when Brady separates himself from the rest of the division. I don't think Shavkat has that level of jiu-jitsu. I don't think Bilal has a level of jiu-jitsu. I can't really think of grapplers off the top of my head, but Usman, Colby, none of these guys. So the guy is dangerous. He's smothering on top. He can control you. It's just different when you have Sean Brady on top of you, I think the point that made me think that Leon would win this fight is that I thought that Bilal has the best wrestling in the division, Bilal's training with Khabib, Bilal's training with Islam, those type of guys. The setups that he had, he would have him up against the cage. He would go, for the high-low, you know what I'm saying? He would get the ankle and then he'd top him over. He would pick him up, high crotch, all these different approaches that you just never saw in Sean Brady's game. Matched with the wrestling, I just thought Bilal showed different levels. He put it all together within his own game, revolutionized what he can do in the cage. I wasn't too impressed with I was kind of impressed, but I wasn't too impressed with the Burns performance to where I was like, oh, like this guy can, mess with people. It was like an iffy performance for me. I didn't know how to gauge it. And, that just shows by me underestimating him in this matchup. But again, I want to say, I want to give Brady credit, but man, the takedown defense that Brady came with, or sorry, not that Brady, I got distracted. I'm seeing something behind me. But the takedown defense that Leon presented was just not the same that we saw in the Bilal fight. Like, he was, as soon as Brady came forward, and it was like from the get-go, as soon as he got, the first takedown attempt, he was immediately going to, I don't even know what these techniques are called. I gotta get my terminology up. Obviously, I wrestled before but it's the stuff that he's doing on defense. Like, he's, instead of going for underhooks and trying to fight the hands, not even addressing that. This is stuff that he was kind of doing in the Bilal fight, or he's doing a little better job of. He did a good job of getting up to his feet. I thought that once he got down that Brady would have better control, which he honestly did as it got, late, and he obviously subbed him, but he did a good job of getting up and fighting out of those positions. I think he had he was also in that was a Holland fight, but I think, this video is just going to be purely about the main event. I'm not going to talk about the other fight. Maybe I'll get to it. We'll see. But in those moments, he did a good job of, scrambling, getting kind of back up, but where I think those little things that he would do to, keep the fight kind of in his way so he didn't get finished, I think Brady just completely exposed it. And I think his skill with the grappling further exposed it, because he could get away with doing some of that stuff against Bilal, because Bilal's just he's not a finisher on the ground. He's more of a control guy, not looking for submissions, and honestly not even really pounding your head in. Honestly, his control is really pretty good. But Brady's it's crazy. He's controlling you, he's hitting you, he's threatening with the chokes. It was overwhelming for Leon, I think. And once the fight got to the ground, it was just so easy. I just don't the takedowns weren't so complicated, or there wasn't any nuance to them at all. I don't know why he was doing so good with Bilal's sophistication, but the simplicity of what Brady had to bring forward was just rocket science for Leon. I don't know. It was nothing crazy. It was a double up against the cage. The defense just looked uninspired. And then when he got to the ground, sure, he would fight up once or twice, but then he'd just get taken right back down. I don't know. Maybe I have to go back and look, but I thought Leon's takedown defense in the Bilal fight was way better, even though against a better wrestler, in my opinion. So I don't know if Brady's wrestling is that good. Is he that strong? I don't know what's up with Leon there, but something was up. I don't know. I'll have to watch somebody's analysis of it, and I'll rewatch it myself. But I just thought the little stuff that he was doing to stay up and not get, and even in that performance, he still got dominated. So it's just tough. And then we don't have to talk about what happened when he got to the ground. I think we all know Leon's not the grappler, doesn't have the jiu-jitsu that Brady does. Brady's number one. I think there's nobody. He proved in the Gilbert Burns fight that there's nobody matching him in the jiu-jitsu right now. I'm sure Prime Burns maybe has something to say about that, but the pure jiu-jitsu that he can bring forward in an MMA setting is second to none. So not surprised by that. It just sucks. I thought I was really confident in Leon, I'm not gonna lie. So for him to go out there and perform like he did, just kind of shocking. So yeah, it is what it is. For the next fight that we have, Carlos Ulberg and Jan Blachowicz. Really good performance. Or sorry, not a good performance at all, actually. I was actually almost falling asleep in this fight. So I don't really have much to say. I'm not really impressed with Carlos Ulberg, because the fights that I have seen of him, Volkan Ozdemir, Ulberg, Alonzo Menifield, when he's not knocking people out in one round, I feel like he's kind of just kind of point fighting. I don't know what happened with Oldberg. I remember did he get chinned by Kennedy Nzechukwu. Okay, choked out Da Woon Jung. I don't know. I feel like as he's got to the higher level, this upper echelon of guys, he's kind of like been kind of uninspiring. I don't think of him as like some guy that's like gonna beat Magomed Ankalaev. He hasn't done anything for me at all. I'm sure he has it in him to go out there and be more aggressive, but he's just kind of tiptoeing his way, kind of sliding through, doing just enough to beat these top contenders. It's just not, I don't know. And I heard someone make a comment about saying that he felt like disrespected by people saying that, oh, like Pereira cleared out the division and essentially like just ignoring his presence, in the light heavyweight division, in the grand scheme of things. But like with a performance like that, like how can people take you seriously as like a serious contender to Alex Pereira at that time, with the Volkan Ozdemir fight? It's just like he comes in as like a minus 300, and he'll probably be a minus 300 against like, that's the thing. He might, well, I don't know. It depends. If he goes against Yuri, I don't know, because Yuri's going to force him into that fight. Volkan, I mean, I watched a little bit of that fight, but again, I was like kind of falling asleep watching the Volkan fight too. A lot of these fights they're just point fighting back and forth. Even Izzy, but it's different though. I think these are better opponents than Izzy, I don't know what that guy was doing like in his title reign, like with Vettori and Cannonier. Cannonier, the guy has power. I could understand maybe fighting that way, but man, Oldberg, I don't know. I'm just not really inspired with his performances. I don't have anything really to say. I haven't learned anything new with him. He's just doing enough. You could easily give that fight to Jan Blachowicz. Easily. I probably leaned Oldberg, but you could have easily given it to Jan Blachowicz, and I wouldn't have been. It's just a fight I don't care about, and I don't care who won. Cut them both, honestly. I don't even know what type of fight that was. But, I mean, I'm not saying that. The thing is, I think sometimes people confuse boring for high level. They're like, oh, well, if you want slap fight, you want knockouts, go watch slap fight. It's not like, but it doesn't, to be high level, you don't necessarily have to be boring. I'm all for a technical chess battle. Technical chess battles don't have to be boring, staring at each other. Like, I mean, I understand that that's what it can be at the highest level sometimes. People are making their reads, but they never got out of first gear, it felt like. Maybe for like 1 or 2 seconds, but they were just like staring at each other, I think if somebody would have made that move, that could have been the fight right there. Just up the pace a little bit, but they were fighting. And mind you, they're in London. Does London have like crazy altitude where they're scared of like gassing out? I don't really know. But I think it's not even a thing of like, we shouldn't reward this, because I remember what Pereira was saying. It's not like a cage grabbing thing. It's two opponents who are just scared of making a big mistake. So they just sit there and they just, point fight. It's kind of on both of them a little bit, because at the end of the day, if you lose that decision, which Jan did, part of the blame is on him too. Why are you going out there and point fighting with this guy? Take it to him. Shoot a takedown. I thought there would be more grappling in this fight. Jan, I mean, credit to him. I think he's an elite MMA striker for sure, because he really didn't even threaten with the grappling, and he had a close fight with Carlos Oldberg, one of the better strikers in the light heavyweight division. Is that a testament to how bad the striking is, or just how bad the talent is at light heavyweight? Or, I mean, nah, but I don't even think it is. I think Jan is just genuinely, we see what he did to Pereira. He had moments in the Pereira fight. Adesanya beat him on the feet. Part of that due to his, the wrestle threat, but still, like, he's consistently shown these great MMA striker performances, so didn't even need it. But I mean, at least threaten a little bit. I wish there was like some more clinching from Jan, but yeah, he honestly didn't, for all the surgery that he had and the time he took off, he didn't look too out of it. So shout out to Jan, shout out to Oldberg, I guess. Kevin Holland, Gunnar Nelson, I was all on this. I was very confident in Holland winning this fight against Gunnar Nelson. It felt like the Michael Chiesa fight over again. Put him at 170. Put him against a grappler that isn't freaking Hamzat Chimaev or some dominant guy. The guy has jiu-jitsu. The guy is dangerous off his back. He scrambles. He's long, which, I don't know. It can be to your detriment or to your advantage. I think he used it to his advantage in this fight. He just fought well, man. The second round was like pure Kevin Holland. Like, you cannot just hold somebody down. you have to do damage because Holland will punish you for it. You know, on his back, he was doing more damage than Gunnar was. You know, it was a struggle. And Gunnar had moments of excellence. I think he almost had an arm triangle. I don't know if it was round 2, round 3, but Holland fought out of it. You know what I mean? Just completely. Honestly, with that performance, like, it changes your outlook about how he looked in those fights against 185. You know, now you want to support him. Now you can see why Holland is, you know, viewed in the way he is. You know, this is a fight that he's taken right after a very uninspiring performance. And he's been so active, too, in his career. But, yeah, everyone's saying, like, oh, this guy should retire. This guy's a quitter. This guy's just, like, you know, doesn't want to be here. He's lost all his aura and comes back and reminds everybody. Like, this is the Holland that people are saying, like, hey, under the right circumstances, man, this guy could get a title shot. This guy could do something at 170. Who knows, honestly? Because here's the thing. The reality with Holland is that maybe on his worst day, maybe he can be terrible. But you can't tell me that on any given night, I think he could be champion. I'm not even going to lie. Because let's look at it like this, right? At 170... the problem is like 170. His like window for a title shot kind of passed. I'm not gonna lie, but there was a time at 170 where like there was like a lull period. There wasn't like much going on. It was kind of like a standstill because Bilal wasn't getting his title shot. And like Holland, like with his activity, and if he could string a couple wins together, I think him losing to JDM by split decision kind of halted that. But he was this close, I think, to getting like, and he always will be close to getting a title shot because of how active he is and what he's done for the company. He could slide in there and get like a Michael Chandler, Strickland-esque title shot where it's like, you know, company man always steps in and they need somebody. And this guy's always active and he's on a bit of a win streak. Throw him in there. You know, one of those things. Welterweight doesn't have that issue with contenders because they have Buckley. They have Gary. They have Shavkat. They got JDM. They have Sean Brady now. So it's so many. They got Buckley. I didn't even mention Buckley. Oh, my gosh. Welterweight's low-key my favorite division. But, yeah, they got so many guys. But Holland, like I said, he went to a split decision with JDM. You know, it's one of those things where it's like Jalen Turner was talking about how before he got subbed by Ignacio Bahamondes and retired subsequently after, he was talking about, hey, you know, I'm inspired by Moicano going out there and losing to Makhachev, getting that title shot, because guess what? I was 1 second away from knocking that guy out. I'm right there. I could have arguably beat Gamrot. So it's just these things. Right? So if Holland if he can go to a split decision with JDM, if JDM can go out there and knock out Bilal, which I think is possible, I think Bilal's wrestling's too much, but it could happen. I mean, if Bilal thinks too heavily of his boxing and actually goes out there and strikes with a guy like JDM, anything can happen. So that's something to look out for, man. I think for Kevin Holland, man, he a lot of potential there, but it's just about can he put it all together? Does he care enough? Next fight, Alexia Tainara and Molly McCann. Final fight on the card, or first fight of the night, actually, or on the main card at least. I'm not gonna go talk about the prelims. I just want to make this short and sweet. Just a little recap. Alexia Tainara. I'm on the hype train right now. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like she, you know, I'm not gonna say like she's like the best looking, but man, I mean, you know, she got it back there. You know, of course, she's flaunting what she got, of course. I loved her intro, like coming to the ring. She was dancing. She had all the energy in the world, music playing, in away territory, you know, coming out on short notice. And she used her grappling. You know, she did what she had to do in this fight with Molly McCann. Obviously, you know, the sign with Molly McCann, even if you're not a grappler, you take her down and you try to submit her, because she's shown in multiple performances that she has that grappling deficiency. She can't stuff a takedown, and she's a fish out of water in the grappling department. So after countless fights where she's getting subbed, she hasn't quite figured it out. So, and now you're giving her someone who, like, this is her bread and butter. This isn't even like a striker or something. So this is her complete bread and butter, and Tainara made it look easy, honestly. You know, Molly McCann, she fought for a little bit. You know, you thought maybe she could get out of the round, but yeah, it was over before it started, honestly. And then she gave a really good celebration at the end. She was kind of like twerking in the middle of the cage. You know, I'm a fan of that. You know, anytime somebody can do theatrics, you know, bring it, you know, any sort of way, I love that. You know, it's like the pro wrestling type of stuff. Just not necessarily like pro wrestling, but I guess it is like those type of elements that are getting the fans engaged, getting the fans excited, not just the fighters who are like, oh, they win a fight, and they're like, or they'll be at the press conference and they'll be like, we'll see Saturday night, like bring a little trash talk into it, something to make you stand out, something to make you a star. And I think with Alexia Tainara is like, she's from Brazil, she's a great grappler, she talks the talk, she walks the walk, she has charisma, she has the hair, she got the dancing, all that type of stuff, and now she's got a signature win. I think Amali McCann is a signature win for a lot of ladies. So now it's about adding on some other wins. So let's see what her striking didn't look too bad either. So let's see what she could do in the future. I'm not gonna say like, oh, like the title run starts here, but hey man, I'm a fan though. I'm a fan because I think there's not enough fighters that are creating their own identity and trying to become stars. I think the fighters have kind of accepted that, hey, the UFC is a star and I'm just gonna fight and I'm just gonna win, try to win, stay in the UFC. I think people are just so focused on that, they forget about promoting themselves and being their own cheerleaders and going out and, making your own, content and doing interviews yourself and, making posters, getting fan hype. I don't know, doing sit-down interviews with the fans. I don't know, doing like outdoor stuff, interacting, too locked in, so that's what I'd like to see more from the UFC, especially as they go into this Netflix era, potentially next year. Just more stars, and trying to build those stars too. Like that's why I'm honestly paying. Once I saw the last Payne Talbot documentary where he had the Frank Ocean snippet, which is amazing. Y'all should go listen to that. It's like, I read your diary every night. I can't sing though. He's like, I wanna drink your words like wine, something like that. So that was hard. That was a hard snippet. Y'all should go listen to that. But shout out to Frank Ocean. But with Payne Talbot, I know he just took that first loss, but man, he's got some backing behind him, and that kid's special. I think that's a guy that you gotta watch out for, and that's a guy that you gotta matchmake carefully because that's a star in the making. You have Frank Ocean giving him snippets on his like little mini docuseries. That's crazy. We're not seeing that, bro. That's if I've ever seen somebody with like cross. I don't know what the name for it is, but like. Yeah, crossover appeal. That's the name for it. Yeah, crossover appeal. Somebody, I think Payne Talbot could reach the gay community. I think he could reach the, the skater community. He was linking up with Tony Hawk. He could reach the music community with Frank Ocean. People are going to be, watching documentaries. They're already starting rumors that he's like Frank Ocean's boyfriend. So he can reach that pop culture. And if you're just a fight fan, you can appreciate that. Like, Talbot, he's a little quirky, a little weird, but he's a hell of a fighter. So I love to see more of that, just more stars. They got to build onto it. You got Hamzat, you got Topuria, you got guys like Paddy Pimblett, coming up. They just need more of that, as guys like Adesanya kind of go out. Jones doesn't want to fight, Pereira now. I don't know what's going on with Pereira now because not that he's like, no, he's still a big name, but like, it's like, I don't know, I feel like being a star, I don't know. Honestly, the thing is with Pereira, though, is like he's going to get that rematch and he's probably going to win. So he'll be right back. But it's a little low period. He's still beloved, though. But even Charles, bro, it's kind of hard to be you can be a star without a belt, but it really helps having a belt. I can't lie. It helps having a belt. And just the way that the UFC is structured, like, you almost got to have a belt, bro. You got to have a belt, honestly. It just like not having a belt, unless I guess if you're on the come up, but just the way it works, it's not like boxing. You can't just be a Tank Davis where it's like you got your own belt, your own like fake belt, WBA belt, or the regular ABC, LGBT, the Pride belt. You know what I'm saying? The 1, 2, 3, the regular gold, silver belt. And you could just promote it. You could just be like, hey, I beat this guy, even though he's coming up 2 weight classes, but I'm still the best because I got all the knockouts. You can't really do that in the UFC. So again, but they gotta be better about that though. I think there needs to be ways that people can be stars but not have the belt too. But they're cutting so many guys. Like there's barely any heavyweights. They're just like they're cutting actual talent like Makayev. I don't even know. UFC is like heading towards a bad direction. But again, I want more stars. Shout out to Alexia Tainara. RIP to Molly McCann's career. Great. I remember when she did the spinning back fist against the one lady. Forgot her name, but and then I remember one. Um, all right, that's all I got for the video. Leave a like on the video, subscribe. Peace. I almost already know what it is.